Hey everyone, it's Click here again, and today I have for you my first Constructicon, which is Revenge of the Fallen Rampage, or Skipjack. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm going to call this Rampage for now. Yeah, here he is in his bulldozer mode. This build was originally made for Foolish Brick's Revenge of the Fallen challenge, so that is why I built this. One of the strangest Decepticon designs, but a pretty interesting one nonetheless. And because of that, it made it a really fun and interesting build. So that was really cool to try to replicate in Lego form. Yeah, well, here he is. I actually really like this bulldozer mode. I think it looks pretty cool. Here he is from the side. And as you can see, the treads are kind of built by plates and hinges. So unfortunately, they don't roll. But that is a sacrifice I had to make for robot mode articulation of the treads and posability. We'll get into that. Coming to the back here, you can see it's pretty clean. You can see a little bit of a tail sticking out here, but it's nothing terrible. You got these two spiky things. I don't know the technical parts, but yeah. And here he is from the front. You can see you got that big kind of scoop thing, the bucket or that, and you got these like nice hydraulic looking things. And this can actually go up and down a little bit, not much, but it can. It's on a ball joint. I don't know if you can see that in there. And it can kind of angle, but not too much before it starts breaking things up over here. Yeah, I think it looks pretty nice. After building this, I definitely do want to make more Constructicons in the future, so I'm definitely going to try, and if I can, I'm going to try to get them to combine. It definitely would be a huge challenge, literally, but it would be interesting to try to tackle. Yeah, so for some size comparisons, here he is with Barricade, Studio Series Jazz, and a minifigure. So you can see it's a pretty big bulldozer. And now that that's done, we can move on to the transformation. And this is actually pretty much inspired by the Studio Series toy, but I did change a lot, especially in the arms and up here, and actually on the front here to kind of minimize kibble a little bit. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take these, kind of bring these up for now, and hinge these over. Just kind of get them out of the way. And while we're here, actually, we're going to bring these pieces out, and this will actually collapse in kind of on itself, and these will fold outwards. And you're going to make sure this is flat, and you can bring these in for now. And we'll deal with that later. We can kind of come back here, bring this little section up, and you can kind of see right in here. These will untab like this and like that. And that's basically what holds in the tail section here. So this will come up, and then what we're gonna do is kind of just flip it over and come down here. These two little clips here kind of lock this into place. You're gonna just pull those out and just flip them up, something like that. And coming up here real quick, these treads actually tab in here. You're gonna untab that, and they're kind of in 3 separate sections. So you got this section here, and you got this section that unclips from here, like this, and then you got this section, which is pretty short, but yeah, once you have this separated, you can kind of get these out of the way, and then lift up this here. It's on a couple hinges here. And you're just gonna kind of swing it around, and then up again. So it's just kind of flipped around a little bit from where it originally was. And at this point we can kind of flip everything over again. And then we can come over here, rotate the arm around. This piece will come up and fold in half. And before we do anything, we'll just kind of get this out of the way. You can hinge that up and kind of rest it there. This will slide over and lay flat there. And you're gonna bring this finger around. And then we're gonna take this finger and rotate this a full 180. And then kind of bring it around so it's kind of in line with the other one. And this likes to come off every now and then. And then by now we can just hinge everything at the elbow. And then now this will just kind of come up there. Bring this out of the way. We'll get to that in a little bit. This kind of gear here will swing around. Make sure this one is sitting flush. And the ball joint will rotate to kind of give those bottom fingers here. Then you can take the tread. This is kind of interesting. And you're gonna rotate, and there's actually a little gap in here. You can kind of see there's nothing really here, and this is actually gonna fill in that space a little bit to sort of give the look of it kind of weaving in between the gears here. So just kind of squish it in there and curl it around the circle there. And after that, pretty much have one arm done. And we'll basically do the same thing on the other side. So again, we're gonna split the treads up a little bit. Take this off, untab this. Make sure that doesn't come off there. And get these out of the way. So you can bring this out. Lift up this piece on these hinges. And then, again, kind of maneuver it around. A little bit like that. And then, while we're here, we can take this, spin it around, and lay it flat there. Take this, rotate this in half, and then lay it on the back of the arm. And then, now we can flip everything around again. Just lay them here. Bring this finger around. And this piece also slides and lays flat there. Forgot to do that. And get this out of the way so you can bring this tread piece to the shoulder area right there. Bring the lower fingers up, kind of align them there. And then you're going to rotate this again. Make sure this is swung all the way out. And then you can kind of tuck this in and curl this around. And there you pretty much have both arms done. Now, raising the camera up a little bit, this whole section here is going to rotate around on that ball joint that I showed you earlier. And this piece is going to fold in. And then kind of come to the front here. Hinge the head out of the way so you can rotate these out and kind of shift them back into the place here. Do the same on this side. So shift out, rotate around, and then shift up again. Kind of like those little vent things. And these will rotate around to the front. Same over here. And these two little panels will kind of lay against there. Fold this flat. Real quick, we're going to fold these little panels in. Make sure this is slid all the way to the back. and then you can slide it in and kind of angle it a little bit. And same over here. Slide that all the way back. And what I like to do is take these sections here and just kind of nestle them right into there a little bit, just kind of hide them away, sort of. And there's the back pretty much done. And we'll come back here again, back to the front, and we'll mess with this whole tail area. So this is going to hinge out and kind of unfold and then lay back straight onto there. And then you can kind of see there are like 3 sections. There's this, this, and this. You're going to rotate these 2 sections on that stud there. And then what I like to do is kind of angle these down. They're on those rounded bar pieces. You kind of angle them down and then close them up along these sections here. Same down here. And you can rotate the tail. And these sections will come up and shift down a little bit. Rotate, shift. And there you have pretty much the front of it down. Just gotta work on back here. And basically what happens with this section here is it kind of splits up. So this whole roof part will hinge down, and then you can take this whole section, it's on droid arms, lift it up, and before you do anything, make sure that is folded down. And these 2 parts right here, we can kind of see it here. This is gonna shift and then shift again onto here. So kind of, it's like a staircase almost. Do the same over here, hinge and hinge up. And then this will kind of sit in here. And what you kind of have to do is bring these all the way out. And this whole section right here will kind of fit in between these 2 here. Bring these back, and then this will fold up, kind of hold that into place a little bit better. And then you bring the arms out. And there are a couple of things you can do with this lower section here. But for now, I'm going to fold this up into place. And then you can kind of lay this right there. And after all that is done, here we have Rampage in his robot mode. And this is a very interesting robot mode. It's unlike anything I've ever built. But I think it's actually very, very cool. Again, I took a lot of inspiration from the Studio Series toy. Just because I think that has a pretty efficient transformation. But yeah, I think this looks really good. I'm very happy with how this turned out. I was originally kind of scared with how sturdy it would be with the pogo stick area right here, but he's got a nice base here, and there are a couple other options of how you can position things. You can either have it like this, where it's kind of going back a little bit, and you can do it another way, which is this way. You just have it going straight up and down, and this is where it gets a little finicky with trying to balance things, but you can get it to work pretty well. You can see that there. And lastly, you can there's another hinge right here. You can bring that out and make sure that's flat, and this piece back here can come down and kind of form a stand almost, which is pretty helpful if you want to get some more dynamic poses, like bring the arms out more, or so you can balance him a little better. I do like this a little bit. I probably like the other one more, just because it doesn't have this kind of ugly little bit right here, but And coming to the hands here, these are actually very fun to mess around with, and because they're on hinges, you can kind of pose them in a lot of different ways, which is really nice. You can kind of get them whipping it, and yeah. Unfortunately, the sacrifices, they don't rule in vehicle mode, but I think it's worth it to have these because these are really cool. And you can still have them look like they're kind of hanging down. You don't have to have them flailing around. Like, you can kind of get that look going if you do it on this side as well. So you can kind of do that. They're very easy to pose around in a lot of different ways, which is very nice. And yeah, coming to the side here, you can see not much of a backpack, just a little bit of kibble up in here, and you got a little bit back here, but it kind of looks like a sort of spine or something, which is pretty cool. Yeah, not too much to talk about back here. I might recolor this to a yellow version at some point, just to see how it looks. And again, this is just such a weird design to make, but it kind of made it pretty interesting and kind of broke the norm for LEGO Transformers. Just the design process was very different. And now getting into articulation real quick. He's got kind of like a butterfly joint up here, which is nice. You got a ball joint at the shoulder. Got a ball joint at the elbow, I guess. These can move around a bunch of different ways. Again, you can pose these around a ton. There's a ball joint in there too. And his fingers are very articulated. You got hinges there. You got this can come out if you want. You got that. These two fingers are on a bar here, so you can hinge those, and they're on a ball joint there. And his head is on a ball joint. It's a little limited with the way it's connected in there. You kind of have to shift these out a little more if you want to get some better articulation with that. But the head is also on a kind of robot hand in here. And lastly, for articulation, you got a little bit on the tail. You got a ball joint in here, so you can kind of angle it a little bit, but it does mess with the back a little bit back here. It's not too bad, but it does kind of move it with it, if that makes any sense. And you also got a ball joint at this down here, so you can move that around. And for a couple size comparisons, here he is with Starscream, Sideswipe, a minifigure. And real quickly, I did make him his little cannon things. I don't know what they are, but these just kind of clip in right where that bar is, right there. Just like that. And you can kind of move the fingers around it to kind of simulate that a little bit. And yeah, there you got both of them in. And yeah, it's not perfect, but I think it does what it needs to do. So that's about it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. This was a very interesting and fun build to make. Definitely want to make more Constructicons now and kind of build the team up a little bit. That'd be really cool. Yeah, and again, thanks to Foolish Bricks for making another challenge and allowing me to enter this in. It was very fun to see everybody else's builds, and yeah, that's about it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.